Welcome to CV Studios. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Helps to keep us motivated and make more of these videos for you guys. Let's start today's video.
How did I let this happen? I can't help but ask myself this every night. Yet, every time I feel him, every time he touches me, all the shame vanishes. I feel alive again, desired, but it's all spiraling out of control. If anyone found out, my life would be ruined. Our lives would be ruined. Let me start from the beginning. Though, before I fell into all of this, my name is Maria, 38 years old, and I've been married to Richard for almost 4 years now. He's a good man, much older than me, tall, with a slight gray around his temples. His shoulders are broad, and he's built like a man who's worked hard in life, which he has, but lately, I can't even remember the last time I felt truly seen by him. Richard's constantly away at work, travel, business meetings. I should feel lucky to live this life, right? The house, the money, the parties. But every time I look in the mirror, I feel forgotten, like a trophy on a shelf. That's why I crave touch. I've been needing something, someone, but not like this. Never did I think I'd find it with him. When I married Richard, I brought my daughter, Mia, into the marriage. She's 18 now, beautiful like I was at her age, long, dark hair that frames her sharp cheekbones, her eyes full of life. I always worried about her adjusting to this life, especially with Richard's son, Cole, around. Cole, I didn't even notice him at first. He was 24 when I met him, now 27, quiet, brooding, almost aloof. He's tall, well-built, with these piercing green eyes that always seem to be judging, watching. His dark hair, always tousled like he just got out of bed, only adds to that rugged charm. He's nothing like his father. Where Richard is clean-cut and controlled, Cole is dangerous. He doesn't work in his father's business, he's a personal trainer, and it shows. Every inch of him radiates strength and power. There's something about him that always felt off-limits, forbiddance. But oh, how I longed for that. But he wasn't mine to want. He was Mia's, wasn't he? I should have seen the signs earlier. The way they would look at each other, how Cole would find excuses to stay late in the evenings. Mia's giggling late at night, the light footsteps across the hallway. I heard them once, behind her door, the sound of their whispers, of things I pretended not to hear. My daughter, and him. It was betrayal, deep and unforgivable. My own blood, my little girl, sneaking around with him. At first, I thought I was imagining it, that I was losing my mind. But no, they were doing things I'd taught Mia to save for someone who loved her. And Cole, he was using her, I could see it in his eyes. Mia thought it was love, but it was just lust. He was playing her, sneaking into her room, and the worst part, he wasn't hiding it from me. So one night, I confronted him. He had just returned from a workout, sweat still glistening on his chest. I had planned to confront him about Mia, to get him to stop, but standing there in front of him, I felt something shift. His green eyes locked onto mine, and there it was desire, not for Mia, for me. I don't know how it happened, but the rage I felt melted into something else. It started with just a glance, then a touch. I asked him if Mia knew what he was doing, if he planned to continue treating her like some plaything, and Cole, with that dangerous smirk of his, said, "What does it matter to you?" I should have slapped him. I should have told him to get out of our lives. But I didn't. I was angry. Yes, but more than that, I wanted to take something back for myself. I kissed him first. It was electric, like setting fire to dry wood. All the loneliness, the desire, the need for control, everything poured into that kiss, and Cole responded with the same hunger. His hands were on me, rough and urgent, and for once, I felt alive, powerful, wanted. In that moment, he wasn't Mia's anymore. He was mine. It didn't stop there, of course. That night became many nights. I would wait until Richard was out of town, and Mia was at school or out with friends. Cole would come to me, and each time it felt more dangerous, more exhilarating. He wasn't just some young lover, he was my revenge, my secret weapon. But then Mia found out. She walked in on us. I can still remember her face, her eyes wide, her hands trembling. The betrayal in her voice as she screamed at me, You're with him? I didn't know what to say. I was a hypocrite, wasn't I? Furious at Cole for using her. And now I was doing the same thing. Mia threatened to tell Richard to ruin everything. She had me cornered, and for a moment, I thought it was all over. But I reminded her of what I knew about her and Cole. I told her I could tell Richard, too, that I could reveal everything about their secret meetings. The thought of Richard's rage terrified her, and I knew I had the upper hand, so I made a deal with Mia. I told her to stay quiet, and in return, I would do the same. She had no choice. We were both bound by our secrets, locked in this web of deceit. But it wasn't enough. Mia still hated me. I could feel it. She was waiting for the moment to strike, and I had to stay one step ahead. The final straw came last night. Richard was away again, and Mia was out with her friends. Cole came over, and as always, we lost ourselves in each other, but this time, Mia was waiting. She came home early, burst into my bedroom, and screamed that she was going to tell Richard everything. For a moment, panic surged through me. But then, I remembered who I was. I was Maria. I had survived more than this, hadn't I? I wasn't about to let some naive girl ruin my life. So I turned to Mia and said, "Go ahead, tell him. But if you do, I'll make sure you never see Cole again. I'll ruin his life, his career, and yours." I thought I had it all under control. The power, the passion, Cole. But things are slipping through my fingers, and I can't help but feel like I'm losing. Even though I won that standoff with Mia, something doesn't sit right. I see the way she looks at him, the way he looks at her when he thinks I'm not watching. There's something I can't shake. The more I try to convince myself that Cole is mine, the more I feel him slipping away. Last night, after Mia stormed off, I felt confident. I'd crushed her threats, secured my control. But after Cole left my bedroom, something gnawed at me. Why did I feel this unease? Why did Mia's words still echo in my mind? I decided to find out for myself. It wasn't hard to catch them. I knew their patterns, their rhythms, how they operated in secret when they thought no one was watching. Cole never stayed long after our late night meetings, always leaving before dawn. And Mia, she was never truly out with friends as much as she claimed to be. I just hadn't cared to notice before, until now. That night, I stayed up, waiting, listening. When I heard Mia's door creak open, and those familiar, soft footsteps tiptoeing down the hallway, I knew something was happening. My heart raced as I moved silently through the shadows, following the sounds. The door to Mia's room was cracked open, just enough for me to see inside, and there they were. The sight of them sent a surge of heat through my body rage. Yes, but something else too. Something more primal. Mia, lying on her bed, her hair splayed out across the pillow, looking up at Cole with those wide, adoring eyes. And him, standing over her, shirtless, his muscular frame bathed in the dim glow of her bedside lamp. His hands were on her, gentle, but commanding, just as they were with me. He leaned down, brushing his lips against her neck, whispering something that made her giggle softly. My breath hitched in my throat. It was intimate, more intimate than I'd ever seen. There was a tenderness there that I hadn't felt with Cole in a long time. I should have barged in. I should have ended it right there, but I couldn't move. I was frozen, watching them, my heart pounding in my chest. Jealousy burned in my veins, not just because he was with her, but because of how he was with her. I realized in that moment that I wanted what she had. The way he touched her, the way she melted into him, as if they were two halves of the same soul. I wanted that again, but I was the one being left out. The next morning, I confronted Cole. I couldn't keep quiet any longer. "Do you think I'm a fool?" I spat at him, standing in the doorway of his room. He didn't even try to deny it. He sat there on the edge of his bed, staring at me with those cold, unreadable eyes, his muscles tense beneath his skin. "What do you want me to say, Maria?" he asked, his voice calm, but edged with something darker. "I want the truth," I demanded. "I saw you with her, Cole. You're still sneaking around with Mia, aren't you?" His lips curled into that infuriating smirk, and for a moment, I wanted to slap it off his face. But he just shrugged. "She has something on me. What the hell does that mean?" I was losing patience, my chest tightening with frustration. "She knows about us," he said plainly, his eyes locking onto mine. She threatened to tell Richard, remember? So I keep her happy. I keep her quiet. The weight of his words crashed down on me. All this time, I thought I had control, thought I had won, but Mia had been pulling the strings. She was still wrapped around Cole, and he was letting it happen. You're still sleeping with her, I whispered, the realization sinking in. Cole stood up, moving toward me with that slow, deliberate pace that always made my pulse quicken. You don't get it, Maria, he said, his voice low and dangerous. I'm playing both sides because I have to. Mia's got me by the throat, and if I don't keep her satisfied, she ruined everything. She's using me as much as you are. I couldn't believe it. My own daughter had the upper hand in this twisted game. She was the one keeping Cole tethered to her, making sure she got what she wanted. And Cole? He was caught between us, pulled in two different directions. But I wasn't going to let her win. Not like this. Later that evening, I decided to take back control. If Mia thought she could hold something over Cole, then I'd give her something else to fear. I watched them again, this time more closely. They were so reckless, so obvious in their desire for each other. Cole would touch her lightly, almost as if teasing, and Mia, being the lovesick fool she was, would melt into his hands. I could see her longing for him, see the way her body responded to him like a puppet on strings. But there was something else I saw too. I saw the flicker of guilt in Cole's eyes, the way he hesitated just a fraction of a second before giving in to Mia's advances. He didn't love her. He was just playing the game to survive, and that's when it hit me. He didn't belong to her. Not really. He still wanted me. He had to, and I would make sure he remembered it. That night, when Mia was fast asleep and Richard was away again, I went to Cole's room. I didn't knock. I just opened the door and stepped inside, my heart racing with anticipation. He was sitting at the edge of the bed, his eyes widening as he saw me standing there in the dark. Maria, he started, but I didn't let him finish. I'm done playing second fiddle, I said, stepping closer, my voice low but firm. You think Mia has something on you? Well, I have something better. He stood up, towering over me, his chest bare, his muscles rippling with tension. For a moment, we just stared at each other, the air thick with everything unspoken between us. And then I did something I hadn't planned. I kissed him. It wasn't like the first time when I'd been driven by anger and lust. This time, it was something deeper, something more dangerous. I kissed him like I wanted to claim him, like I was marking him as mine. And for a second, I thought he pushed me away, but he didn't. Cole pulled me closer, his hands rough against my skin, and in that moment, I knew I had him. Mia might think she had control, but the truth was, Cole couldn't resist me. He never could. Cole still met with her, of course, but it was different now. His touches were colder, his kisses less urgent. He was going through the motions, keeping her satisfied just enough to keep her quiet. But every night, he came back to me, and each time, it felt like victory. Mia's finally cracking. She cornered me this morning, accusing me of trying to steal Cole from her. The desperation in her voice was almost pathetic. I told her that Cole was never really hers to begin with, and the look on her face was priceless. She knows now that she's lost. I've taken back what's mine. Richard, as always, remains oblivious, too busy with his work to notice the chaos swirling around him. And Cole, well, he knows better than to cross me now. He plays the game because he has no choice, and I'm the one holding all the cards. Mia will never win, because in this house, I make the rules. And if she ever tries to turn this game against me, I'll remind her just how much I know, how much I've seen. She thinks she can outsmart me, but she doesn't realize that I've already won. And Cole? He'll keep coming back to me, just like he always has, because in the end, I'm the one who holds the power. And in this house, that's all that matters.